Hi everyone, I'm Obi from Middle East and today I'm going to be showing you how to make maqluba, the national dish of Palestine which is also eaten throughout the Levant region. It's a rice dish containing layers of meat and vegetables. The name maqluba means upside down and refers to how the dish is flipped over before serving. There are a lot of different recipes from the region and today I'll be showing you how to make my version with delicious layers of spiced rice, fried aubergines and braised beef. So to make this you'll need 1 kilogram of meat cubes. I'm using veal but you can use beef or lamb instead. 6 large aubergines, 3 cups of short grain rice. You'll also need a bunch of ground spices, 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of baharat or allspice, 3/4 teaspoon of black pepper, 1/8 teaspoon of cardamom, a pinch of clove and a pinch of nutmeg, and you'll also need 3 teaspoons of salt. I'm also going to be adding some whole spices, though you don't need these except for the black peppercorns, so that's cinnamon, cardamom, clove and black peppercorns. You'll also need some oil for frying, some butter to cook the meat, a few tablespoons of salt for the aubergines, and finally some good quality beef stock. First thing you should do is prepare your aubergines. With a sharp knife, cut the top off of each one and remove any green leaves. Once they're cut, I like to peel my aubergines, but you don't have to. Peeling them gets rid of the bitter skin and allows them to shrink when frying so they absorb less oil. Run your peeler from top to bottom all the way around the aubergine, and then go back and clean any bits that get left behind. Once peeled, it's time to cut your aubergines into circles. Keep your cuts fairly thick, about 1 centimeter wide. This way they will still have some thickness after frying. Next, place your aubergines in a large bowl and add a few tablespoons of salt and mix them well. You want your aubergines to be heavily salted as this will draw out excess liquid and remove any bitter flavours. When mixed, let them sit in the salt for at least half an hour. Next, it's time to thoroughly wash the rice to remove any starch. Place it in a large wire sieve and rinse until the water is no longer cloudy and runs clear, then set it aside to dry. Place your peppercorns in a paper towel and smash them with a mallet to crush them. If you want, you can grind them by hand. The fresh peppercorns will give an amazing flavour to the meat. Traditionally, maqluba is made with a fresh stock. However, in this recipe, you'll cook the meat separately so you can get some nice browning on it. In a heavy bottomed pot, melt a tablespoon of butter on high heat. Once melted, add your freshly crushed pepper and let it infuse into the butter. Once the pepper starts smelling fragrant, add your meat a few pieces at a time. Be careful when adding it as you don't want the hot butter to splash at you. Let the meat sit for a couple of minutes and then stir gently so the other pieces can get a sear. When most of the pieces have some browning, add 1 teaspoon of salt and 1/4 cup of water, then cover and put on a low heat to braise. Check your meat every 10 to 15 minutes to see if it's cooked. If the water evaporates, add a little bit more and cover again. You'll know the meat is cooked when it is fork tender and a deep brown colour. It should look like this. Once your aubergines have sat for around half an hour, pour them out into a colander and give them a rinse. Wash them individually or in small batches, but be thorough as you'll want to wash off any excess salt that is on them, otherwise it can make the whole dish too salty. Lay your washed aubergines to dry on some kitchen towels and heat some vegetable oil in a frying pan. You'll want it to be at least 1 centimeter deep so your aubergines have space to float. Add enough aubergines to fill the pan, laying them away from you so that you don't get splashed with hot oil, and let them fry until the edges start to brown. When that happens, flip them over and let them fry for a couple more minutes until golden brown on the other side as well. Line an oven tray with kitchen towels and place your cooked aubergines on them so the excess oil can drain away. Repeat the process until all of your aubergines are cooked. Once your rice has dried, put it in a mixing bowl and add all of your ground spices to it. Then add 2 teaspoons of salt. Mix your rice thoroughly until all the spices are incorporated and the rice looks evenly coated. Wash or peel a couple of potatoes and cut into 1 cm thick slices. We'll use these to keep the dish from sticking to the pot. Prepare a large heavy bottomed pot, preferably one with short handles. Lay your potatoes into the bottom of the pot, covering as much as possible. Then cut up any remaining pieces of potato to fill the large gaps in the pot. Once the base is evenly covered, you can add the first layer of aubergines. Place them in the pot, overlapping slightly until they completely cover the layer below. Press the aubergines down and fill in any gaps with small aubergine pieces, as you don't want the rice to fall to the bottom of the pot. You should use about half of your aubergines for this. The rest will go in the middle. The next layer will be rice. Add half of your rice over the aubergines. Using a spoon will help you get an even layer. Try to get the layer as flat as possible. If you're using any whole spices, add them directly on top of the rice. Follow that up with your delicious braised meat. Add it piece by piece so you don't disturb the rice too much, and place it in as even a layer as possible. Next, add your remaining aubergine in a layer similar to the first one. This time around you can leave small gaps. If you have a lot of aubergines left over, double up the layer. Once again, try to get this layer as flat as you can. Finally, add your remaining rice to the pot and spread it evenly, then flatten the top. Prepare about 600 ml of stock. I'm using beef stock I made previously, but if you don't have any fresh stock then use a high quality stock cube. Place your pot on the cooker on a high heat and pour your stock in slowly. You want the rice to be submerged ever so slightly. If your stock runs out, top it up with water. Leave your pot on a high heat to boil until the water recedes below the rice. Then turn the heat down to low and cover the pot, leaving it to cook for 30 to 40 minutes until the rice is cooked through. Once the half an hour is up, taste your rice to check if it's cooked. Then remove it from the heat. Let it rest with the lid on for around 15 to 20 minutes so everything can settle into place. When it's rested, place a serving plate on top of the pot and with both hands gripping the plate and pot, flip it over quickly. Let it sit for another 10 to 15 minutes before you remove the pot. And then slowly lift your pot straight up to reveal your stunning layered maqluba. It will probably only stay upright for a few minutes, so don't worry if yours collapses. Just serve it and enjoy it immediately. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make this delicious layered dish. Please share a photo with me on Instagram if you make it. As usual, the ingredients and directions are in the description box below. If you'd like to request a recipe, please leave a comment and I'll add it to my list. Please like, share and subscribe, and I'll be back soon with another video.